Welcome to Package Development Corporation's training video on how to properly start up and shut down the 8-color dry offset printer. In this video, we will cover all subjects needed to properly start the workday and run the printer, including proper preparation for entering the production floor, establishing a clean and organized working environment, engaging all auxiliary systems that support the operation of the printer, how to check each element in the printing process to optimize runtime and avoid costly errors, starting an operation of the printer, optimizing the packing area for maximum productivity. This video also covers the steps necessary to shut off, clean, and secure the printer at the end of the workday. Let's get started. PDC prides itself on maintaining a clean, bacteria-free production floor and end product. All of our products will be used in the food industry and are upheld to the highest standards of food safety and cleanliness. Upon arrival at PDC, please wear earplugs and a hairnet. Make sure to use the hand washing station on the way to the production floor. Also, at any time during the day, if you touch a surface that may be contaminated, please return to the hand washing station to clean your hands. The first step is to turn on all auxiliary devices that service the printer. There are 2 air compressors that are used on alternate days. These compressors service the entire production floor. They are marked Compressor 1 and Compressor 2. Each compressor has a start button. Press it and listen for the machine to start. The noise should be a consistent mechanical hum. If you hear any erratic or dissonant noises such as grinding or banging, stop the compressor and advise your supervisor right away. While you're in this area of the production floor, check for any leaking drain pipes. These are the PVC pipes that run from the compressors on the floor to the drain. Any leaking should be reported to your supervisor. Also, check to see if there are any items in the area that are not put away properly. Next, walk to the back of the building and turn on the vacuum system. The vacuum system also services the entire production floor. The vacuum system is engaged by toggling a small orange switch on the front panel. Listen for the central vacuum to engage. As you're walking back to the print area, notice anything that might be out of place. All walkways should be clear of any boxes or machinery per Kansas City Fire Code. Also, pick up any debris or personal items that you find on the production floor. Next, open the air shutoff valve at the rear of the printer. For safety, open the valve only part way before opening it fully. Listen for any potential air leaks and take a moment to track down the source of that air leak and report it to your supervisor. Powering up the printer. Switch on the main power for the printer. Find the Corona treater. Switch it on by pressing the start button. Use extra caution around the Corona treater, it's a very high voltage system. Again, while you're in this area, look around you and make sure that your surroundings are clear of debris, personal items, and tools. As you pass the tool area, take a moment to set up all the materials you'll need for the day. Ink and knives, clean towels, alcohol in a spray bottle, squirt bottle and pan, a toothbrush, and latex gloves. Take a moment to check the cup feeder line. Look for gaps or inconsistencies between cups. There needs to be a consistent supply of cups into the printer. Adjust the feeder line if necessary. Look inside the machine to clean up any cups that may not have ejected properly. Cups can hide in strange places. Look near the mandrels, Corona emitter, UV metal box, ejection tube, off-product feed chute, or in the production feed chute. Printer operation. Prepping the printer for operation is done in a linear fashion. Ink, roller train, print plate, blanket, cups, UV and Corona, output, packing. Color head and roller train. Every color head takes a different color of ink. These inks are predetermined during the initial job setup and can be found on the work table. There are 8 color heads on this printer, numbered 2 through 9. Open one of the color heads by pulling the handle with your right hand and using your left hand to gently hinge the color head out to reveal the inkwell and roller train. Next, visually inspect each element in the roller train: an inkwell, fountain roller, dab roller, first oscillator, second oscillator, top form roller, and bottom form roller. Look for dust, lint, imperfections, or ink buildup on the rollers. Remove any debris by taking an ink knife and a towel to remove what you find. Inspect the inkwell for bumps or bubbles. The printer has been sitting idle overnight and should have a flat, consistent level of ink. Investigate any uneven areas in the inkwell with an ink knife. There may be debris, lint, or dried ink that was trapped in the inkwell. Make sure to clean out any clumps or debris. Refill the inkwells if they seem low. Bring an ink bucket and knife to the inkwell. Pull a small amount about the size of a large marble onto your knife. The ink has the consistency of honey. Let any excess ink run back into the container by rotating the knife back and forth until there are no drips. Apply the ink directly onto the fountain roller. Do not put the ink directly into the inkwell. Also, do not scrape the knife on the edge of the inkwell. Return the ink bucket and knife to the table, making sure you have cleaned your knife with a rag. Lay the lid back on the bucket gently. Do not scrape the ink knife on the side of the container. That'll cause the ink to drip down the side of the bucket. After your visual inspections are complete, move to the HMI and access the color head setup menu. The clutch is the color head motor and the dab is the roller that picks up ink. Push the button on the bottom right that says Energize Clutch. This will start the rollers rotating. Move over to the color head. Look and listen while the clutch is engaged. Listen for any rattling or grinding. Check for even ink on the fountain roller. The edges of the fountain roller should be silver, not showing any ink on the far sides. Also, check the other rollers for even ink. You can tell when the ink is uneven on the roller. In this case, there's enough good coating of ink on the left, but not enough on the right. Each roller has pressure adjustment screws to help even out the ink level. On the fountain roller, if you notice an area with insufficient ink, adjust the blade screws to even out the ink coverage on the roller. This is also a good time to mix the ink in the inkwell. The ink is very thick and would benefit from mixing. To adjust a roller on the roller train, turn the adjustment screw until you see even coverage of ink on the roller. Retighten the tension nut gently with your fingers and then use a crescent wrench to tighten it just a hair more. Once the visual inspections are complete, energize the dab roller. The dab roller will engage and pick up ink from the fountain roller. It should be picking up ink evenly. Only energize the dab roller for short periods of time, as a buildup of excess ink is not ideal. De-energize the clutch and the dab roller. Repeat this process for each color head that is used. Print plates. The print plates transfer ink from the roller train to the print blanket. Every morning, the print plates must be completely cleaned with alcohol. Use an alcohol rag to clean the print plate and roller surface on each side of the print plate. Rotate the plate to completely remove any ink or grease buildup. Use a toothbrush to clear any ink from the raised printing areas. Stripe test. It is important to perform a stripe test every morning to adjust for any changes in temperature or humidity that have occurred overnight. Once your print plate is clean, close the roller train color head and lock it into place. On the HMI, access the color head menu, push the Both Forms On button, and then energize the top form roller and the bottom form roller. This will engage the form rollers on the print plate. Open the color head and hinge out to reveal the print plate. Look at the sides of the print plate for 4 small marks, 2 for the bottom form roller and 2 for the top form roller. Ideally, these marks should be even and approximately 1/4 inch each. If the marks are much larger or don't show up, each color head form roller can be adjusted with the adjustment knob. In this case, we can see that the ink stripe on the top doesn't adequately cover the printing surface. This will require us to increase the form roller pressure to transfer more ink to the print plate. Clean all the areas around the roller that make contact with the print plate. Next, turn the lock screw to loosen the handle. The handle has 2 knurled adjustment sections. The section farthest away from the roller adjusts the contact area farthest away from the handle, and the section that is closest to the roller adjusts the roller contact area closest to the handle. Generally, to increase roller contact pressure, turn these sections clockwise. Then retighten the lock screw. Close the roller train and perform the stripe test again. You should see an increase of ink coverage on the print plate. Remember, don't increase the pressure too much, as you never want to see ink in the valley of the print plate. The print head. The print head is essentially a very large wheel with 6 blankets attached to transfer ink to the cup. In this image, you can see that each color head makes contact with a print plate. Then, each print plate makes contact with a print blanket, which then transfers that image to the cup. Every morning, it is important to inspect each print blanket for alignment and wear. In order to do this, you will need to open the side access door. If a blanket is visible, use an alcohol rag to clean off the blanket, also inspecting the surface for any tears or dents. Then, step out of the machine and using both hands, press the yellow wheel advancement buttons to rotate the wheel to the next blanket. Repeat this procedure for each of the 6 blankets. The color heads are ready, the print plates are clean, and the blankets are in good shape. It's time to close and lock each color head into place, and engage each print plate. Make sure when you're closing the print heads that the gears are lined up properly. If the color head won't easily lock into place, take the time to make sure they're aligned. Never force the roller train into place. After the printer is set up, in order to run, you must load a stack of alternative discard cups, known as a preload stack, into the machine. This is done by taking a stack of cups and loading them down the throat of the output area. Then open the side door to check that the preload cups are right up against the takeoff belts. Now return to the HMI. First, reset the daily counter. Touch the Daily Cup Count button, and then on the top right of the screen, touch Reset Daily Counter. Also, reset the daily reject count the same way. Now, push the menu button. Next, we need to clear the faults that are listed. The first fault is Flame Treat Fault. This machine uses a Corona treater instead of a natural gas flame. To clear this fault, push the Flame Setup Page button. You will be looking to verify that the Corona is enabled. You should see that flame number 2 is energized, flame number 2 test is in auto, and the treatment selector is Corona enabled. To get back to the main page, push the menu button. The other faults listed refer to the color heads. On this job, color heads 6, 8, and 9 aren't being used. When a color head isn't used on a job, it's best to leave those color heads open. Visually verify that the correct color heads are closed and engaged. It's now okay to push the Press to Reset Faults button. Notice that the flame treater fault error says cleared, but the other sensors still show open. Next, push the In Product Setup Page button. Push the Elevator Motor Indicator button, and then push the Energize Elevator Motor button. The indicator should change to energized. Now, engage the feed clutch by pushing the feed clutch indicator button, then press the Engage Feed Clutch button on the top right of the screen. You'll hear a click when it engages. Next, push the Vacuum Pump Starter Indicator button, and then energize the Vacuum Pump button. To exit back to the main page, push the Menu button. Now you'll need to verify that your Out product is set up correctly. Select the Out Product Setup Page button. Make sure that the Blow-Off solenoid is in Auto, and that the Reject solenoid is in Auto, and that the Restacker is set to Auto. Push the Menu button to get back to the main page. Select the Color Head Setup menu, and in the bottom left corner of the screen, push the Quick Form Roll Setup button. You can set up all the form rollers for each color head quickly. Push the appropriate color head button and then energize the top form roller and then the bottom form roller. Repeat this step for each of the color heads being used on this job. Again, press the Menu button to go back to the main page. Finally, select the UV Setup Page button. Select the UV Power Control button and then enable Lamp Power. Then select either Lamp 1 or Lamp 2 and then engage the correct setting for the UV lamp for your job. Make sure you talk with your supervisor to know which UV lamp setting to use. Now that you've set up the printer in the HMI, it's time to get the packing area ready. To work efficiently, have your packing area set up with the following items: blank cups ready to load into the feeder, clean towels, a box cutter, alcohol, an empty quality check retainer box, a marker, tape gun, and labels. You should also have a box to pack finished cups into. The box should be open with the plastic out around the sides. It's time to start up the printer. Walk back over to the HMI, but before starting, call out to make sure there isn't anyone else in or around the machine, and to alert your coworkers that you're getting ready to start. On the bottom of the HMI are two green buttons. Push both at the same time to start the printer. The printer will start slowly and pick up speed. Address any issues or faults that come up right away. The printer will start to run at full speed. Walk over to where the cups leave the printer, and when enough cups have been produced, remove the preload stack and set that aside. It's important to start quality checking the cups as soon as they leave the printer. Do not quality check the cups when they're in the packing area. You might need to discard a few stacks of cups right away before the ink quality becomes consistent. If after a few stacks, you notice the printing is uneven or unacceptable, stop the machine and troubleshoot the problem. Shutting down. First, turn off the printer. Then, take the discard cup bin and dump the discard cups into the recycle bin. Next, clear your cups from the printer. Organize them on the packing table and then pack them into boxes for shipping. When you've cleared all the cups from the table, tape the box shut for the night. Take your retainer box to your supervisor. Disengage each color head and print cylinder. Only swivel out the color head enough to be separate from the print plate. Next, you need to check that there isn't a mandrel touching a blanket. Look into the printer and advance the print wheel with the yellow buttons until the mandrel is in a gap between the blankets. Return to the rear of the printer to shut off the air supply. Turn off the vacuum system. Check the mandrels for excessive ink buildup. Reach into the printer and feel each mandrel. The mandrel should be smooth to the touch, even if there's a slight image on it. If you can feel any raised areas, get an alcohol rag and clean the mandrel. Lastly, shut off the air compressor. These are the startup and shutdown procedures for the 8-color dry offset printer.